John Sjong and Erik Breivik have been great supporters of the Nordic Heritage Museum for quite a while. They've really helped push us along in many, many different directions, from a standpoint of programs, community development, community engagement, and of course their incredibly generous philanthropy that's allowed us to move forward with the groundbreaking and the construction of the new museum. Without them, I don't think we would be as far along as we are. Both John and Erik have been true innovators in the area of maritime here in Seattle, and they've always had a close connection to Ballard.
I'm born in Norway in 1941 on a little island outside Lofoten called Værøy Island. I have been a fisherman since I was born. My dad was a fisherman, his dad was a fisherman. My dad used to take me out on the grounds when I was 2 years old. I had the fishing in my blood. When I was 25, I became a partner with my dad. We built a big factory trawler, 1973. It was very successful on that boat. And then suddenly here in the late 70s, we had Sjong, Yuri, come from Seattle, do a joint venture on a factory trawler.
Erik has much better memory than I have, so you better tell us.
Well, we first met back in 1978. John was looking for building a factory trawler, so he came to Norway and was looking for a partner.
He was a good fisherman. He caught the fish, and that was the purpose for us getting together.
And we ended up to be partners back in '79.
That's when we bought the Arctic trawler.
Yes.
We had found this boat on the East Coast, and we went there and looked at it. Erik came over and he shook his head a little bit, but it's just sitting there for 9 years. And then we bought it, and I was the one that took it around. I think it took us about 3 weeks.
Yeah, they came to Seattle the day before Thanksgiving in '79. Beautiful weather. The next day after it started raining, and raining all the way to 1st of May. But we did a retrofit over at his company's yard up in Ballard. There was, everything worked out like it should do. So we left for Alaska May 14th in 1980, 4 days before the Mount Helen blew.
John Sjong had been a board member for years prior to my arrival here at the museum. When I got here, he'd stepped off of the board and his wife Berit had taken over his role. Both John and Erik have been active members of the Maritime Committee. They help out a great deal with the 17th of May and any number of things that we do to keep the heritage alive and active, especially focused on the Norwegian and the maritime communities.
When I first came here in '79, '80, it was very new. And we used to go here a lot,
It was tough, because we came from Norway as well. As I was in 7th grade and Mike was in 4th grade.
It was difficult in finding new friends, learning the language, adjusting to the culture. But I think we were young enough that we adjusted probably faster and better than my parents did. For us as Norwegians coming to America, it's important to keep our ties to our Norwegian community and our heritage, and the museum provides that.
I understand there's 300,000 Scandinavians over here in Washington State. So there's between the Swedish and the Danish and the Finns and the Icelandics, a big group of people, and they probably need something to kind of a center around.
When we were younger, we came to visit the Nordic Heritage Museum. We'd come to the festivals and Viking days and everything, but my dad really felt that it was important to remain connected with our heritage and for there to be something lasting here in Seattle.
The new building is going to provide the museum with a lot of wonderful opportunities. There'll be a brand new core exhibition that really explores Nordic heritage and culture, both here in the Pacific Northwest, but also its developments in the Nordic region. Have a state-of-the-art temporary exhibition so we can bring world-class exhibits here to Seattle to share with the entire community. One of the other things I'm really passionate passionate about is it's going to provide us an opportunity to really be good stewards for the collection of objects that the donors have brought in and entrusted to us. Many of these things are family heirlooms and family treasures that we have a responsibility to make sure exist for the next generation and the generation after that.
The farther we get out from people who have immigrated, the harder it is to hear those stories, to understand the amazing accomplishments that the Norwegian community has brought to Seattle, but also the rich culture that they've created for their families here. So I'm looking forward to the museum really involving younger generations and having the older generations tell their stories and share their passion of being from a Nordic country and what that means to them and their families.
John kind of looked at me and said, you know, Erik, once you break ground, then people will start stepping up. Once they know it's a reality, then the dollars will start coming.
So why don't you help out and on the paddle or whatever you can do and help out so we can get that new museum going? What do you think, John?
Yeah, well, there's only a couple of more millions, I guess. And that it shouldn't be so hard to get now that people see that it's actually happening. It's been a long wait. It's going to be really something to be proud of.
We want to thank you very much for honoring our father this year. He's dedicated his life to his work and to this community and has supported the museum for a very long time. Thank you very much.
My sisters and I are really proud of my dad and so honored that he is being honored tonight by the Nordic Heritage Museum. He's really done so much for this community and we think the world of him. Gratulerer, pappa.